Solar panels to heat your water, now that the government has promised a regular payment called the Renewable Heat Incentive. Now, if you want to know if you qualify and how much you would get, Simon's on the case for us, and he gets some help from a working lunch viewer in Somerset who's installed his own system.
Neil Burrow can splash his hot water around without guilt nowadays. That goes for the car washing, the showering, washing up, and all the warm water in the house, because for much of the year it's heated by the sun.
During the summer between July and October, we didn't need to put our heating on at all. I used a total of 6 units of gas, literally just for hot water alone. So over the year, I'd expect to save £120 to £130 based on the savings I've had so far.
Neil is a qualified plumber, and last year he installed his own water heating tubes on his roof near Weston-super-Mare. The system's called solar thermal, and soon the government will pay households to produce this green heat, as long as the equipment went in after last July. It's a carrot to tempt us to economise on gas and oil.
So lovely and warm, partly because it's winter, from the heat of the sun. If you wanted to get a similar system installed, it would probably cost you in the region of £4,500. And from that, you'd expect to get savings on your heating bill of around £100 a year. From the government's new payment, though, it's forecast that a typical home would get around £400 a year. So add that together, 500. Probably take about 9 or 10 years to pay off the cost of the installation.
The plan is to pay a rate linked to the capacity of the system and the size of the home, rather than pay for as much water as people can heat. The fear is that they'd heat water just to pour it down the plug hole. An antifreeze liquid is pumped around the tubes, heated by the sun, and then into a coil in the hot water cylinder. The water can also be heated by the gas boiler.
So this is the heart of the system that controls the temperature of the pump. And as you can see from the displays, outside at the moment it's very cloudy, 17.1 degrees.
But there's a problem. The government will only give its renewable heat incentive if the installer had paid to sign up to its microgeneration certification scheme for consumer protection. And Neil, along with many other installers, isn't yet certified.
Done all my plumbing exams, MVQ2 qualified, I'm going for MVQ3. I'm also going for my water regulations certificate, and I've qualified in solar thermal, I'm qualified in unvented cylinders, so why isn't my ticket any better than anybody else's?
Already 100,000 homes are using the sun's rays to heat up their water. And despite Neil's concern that a lot of the systems already in won't get the new payments, he wants to become a specialist installer. There are so many roofs available, he's convinced that the business will boom.
Well, many of you are not happy about the changes and what the government is offering. But Brian Oxenham says that the government has, I quote, alienated all the earlier adopters who lobbied for this change. David Clough writes, the pioneers who have invested their money in renewable energy systems, rather than in world cruises and so on, will not receive the same treatment as those who have done so since July 2009. These are the very people, he says, who are promoting renewable energy in their local communities. Well, obviously, some of you are not impressed. Do keep your emails coming in. We're still hoping to get the government minister responsible for the renewable energy plan in the studio to put your points to him. And of course, we will let you know when we do get him.